Hi, boy. Explaining robots. Robots explained by an idiot. Let's get it, man. Bro, I haven't seen this movie in years.
Welcome to Robots. In a world of sentient humanoid robots.
I forgot a lot that's happened in this movie, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
There's a town called Rivet with one lucky robot in it named Herb. He was rushing home because he's about to become a dad. Him and his wife got a Build-A-Baby box in the mail. So once he gets home, they start building that baby. And after hours of labor, he forgets one final piece. So he whacks that on and voila. Rodney Copperbottom is born or manufactured. Over the years, he keeps growing up. To do that, they have to keep getting him bigger parts that are usually hand.
Imagine being able to build a baby, bro. You know, we got Build-A-Bear. Imagine building a baby, bro. That's crazy.
Me down from other people because they're too poor to afford new ones. But no matter, life goes on. The kid is a very bright one. And his role model, other than his dad, is this big fella called Big Weld. He's a world famous inventor, super rich, and helps all the people out with his inventions and his spare parts. So the kid gets inspired by him and begins inventing at a very young age. Always refining and improving on his ideas and inventions. Keeps going up with more hand-me-down parts. One of the years he had to take hand-me-down parts from his female cousin, which means that for 1 year of his life he became trans, which is much easier to do in this movie than in real life, and probably also more effective. Oh no, High Boy made a trans joke. Shut up, you overly sensitive, convoluted grow a pair and learn to take a joke or install some stupid. Anyway, Rodney eventually graduates and starts helping his father out in the restaurant he works at as a dishwasher, because he's a literal dishwasher, and I fail to see why people, robots, whatever, even need a restaurant. Like, why do you even need normal humans? You know what I mean? And why not just have a separate dishwasher and then a robot dedicated to operating it? Why have two in one? What if the robot that is a dishwasher is sick or in for repairs or whatever the and why do they have babies? Can I just skip having a baby and skip the 18 years and have an adult kid? Do they only have them grow up from like small to big so they can cultivate memories in their head or something like that? How do they get their souls? Do they have like a soul chip? It must be really expensive. I have so many questions like that, honestly, and I'm gonna ignore all of them so I can keep whatever sanity I have left and continue. He notices that his dad is struggling to work now with failing parts and less spares around, so he begs him to use this invention that he made for him to make his life easier at work. He says he kept refining it and making it perfect so it's ready to go. He gives it a shot, and it's a little tiny spoon copter helper that loads the dishes into his body for him instead of using his arms, which is stupid because other than like saving wear and tear on his arm parts, the main part is still in use. You fucking. So also, this plate storage system is awful. It's the literal dumbest way to do this because you have to put them in from the top and let them drop down, risking breaking them every single time you put a plate in there. And I'm surprised none of them broke while the little spoon copter thing was chucking them in there. Anyway, his invention helps speed things along a bit, but then the dickhead owner of this terrible establishment walks in, like, "What is going on in here?" And they're like, "Breakfast." Not really. Well, actually,
that's an ugly boss,
terrible
man.
establishment walks in, like, "What is?"
Ew, boy look like a roach. Ugly.
What is going on?
Look at the one in the back. Look at him. Look at him.
And they're like, "Breakfast." Not really. What actually happens is the spoon copter gets nervous and starts flying around erratically, knocking over, making a mess of the place. All the plates shatter, and oh yeah, now they break. But not when he was throwing him in there like frisbees. Never mind, I'll let it go. Rodney stops him from killing it and accidentally dumps him in grease, which gets him and his father insulted and himself kicked out of the restaurant. So he decides to go over to Robot City to make something of himself, because he's never going to be someone in a small town, and he wants to meet Big Weld, invent and make an impact on the world or whatever. His mom doesn't want him to go, but his dad encourages him to go and follow his dreams because he never did that himself and he regrets it. So they send him off, and you know what really pisses me off about this movie? The fact that there's a distinct lack of metal clacking sounds when...
Well, it is there sometimes. the metal clacking sounds.
Them off, and you know what really pisses me off about
that could have been a good observation right there, a good question in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
This movie, the fact that there's a distinct lack of metal clacking sounds when they hug each other or touch each other or just move in general. I mean, think about it. This universe they're in would be noisy as fuck to be in. Actually, it's probably a good idea that they left that out, because then this movie would be unintelligible or unlistenable. Is that a word? Doesn't matter. Dude gets on a blob transport air train thing and makes his way over to Robot City, the big leagues, where everybody's super busy and cannot be bothered to talk to him or help him at all, and are constantly trying to rip him off or take advantage of him. And just take a look at this security check where Robot keeps triggering the metal detector, so he has to disassemble his whole ass being, put himself in a tray and then through the machine. What the fuck even is the point of having a metal detector arch thing if 100% of the fucking population is going to fucking trigger it? I'm gonna lose my shit, man. I said I wasn't gonna yeah, whatever. He eventually gets directions on how to get...
Imagine it doesn't go off because you have like two like you need a certain amount of metal to be able to cross it with no issues.
To Big Weld Industries, some of them gets into a transport hamster ball thing that flings them around town, doing lots of goofy AF domino effect things, or like, you know those videos where one thing knocks over another thing and this ball keeps it rolling and more kinetic energy gets transferred and shit, which is very cool to look at, but I can't help but think that this is a horribly inefficient way to transport people around in this movie. Anyway, he gets to Big Industries, where the gate that is always meant to be open for new inventors to come in and show Big Weld personally their inventions, then hopes to get a job there, is now closed. So he tells Tim, the gatekeeper, that he's a young inventor here to see Big Weld, and Tim is like, "Oh yeah, why don't you say so? Oh, my bad, dude. Hold on, let me open it up for you."
Thanks.
Not! Ha! Fucking loser. Yeah, I'm not letting you in, fucko. We stopped hiring inventors years ago. Get lost, kid. But Rodney is a stubborn fucko. And he has his little spoon copter buddy fly him over the gate up to a board meeting. He drops through the ceiling and hopes to find Big Will and show him his invention. But finds that he's no longer in charge. I mean, he kind of still owns the place, I think. But this other guy, Ratchet, is like the CEO or whatever. Hence, he's in charge. And this guy is a grade A dickhead spectaculous Drax of a robot. Because he wants to squeeze every last nickel and dime out of the common poor butt by selling them useless, generic, soulless, copy-paste, shiny upgrades that rob you of any personality.
Sound familiar. That sounds familiar. Copy and paste.
The common poor butt by selling them useless, generic, soulless, copy-paste, shiny upgrades.
Useless upgrades. What that remind you of, gang? Just saying, it's every year's the same thing, bro. They only change 2 things on their phones.
That rob you of any personality at all in the name of being chic,
thing.
minimalist, and new. But they're actually built like crap and rely on brain-dead fanboys with rotting cabbage and pubic hair for brains to buy their shit in mass and hype up their useless features.
There it is. There it is. I didn't even have to tell y'all, bro. He's showing it right there. Look.
You'll never use again after the first week of ownership. Sometimes don't even work and are low-key really dangerous. And to make sure that people buy his expensive upgrades, he's going to stop manufacturing spare parts so that they are forced to buy upgrades. And any poor bot that can't afford that, well, they're going to sweep their sorry ass up from the street and use them as scrap metal recycling.
Bro, didn't this movie dropped? This shit came out what, mid 2000s, bro? Right? Mid late 2000s. Don't quote me on that. And the fact that it's showing that type of stuff, that right there, like the like people are forced to upgrade. We're gonna stop manufacturing the old stuff. They're forced. And it's happening today with stuff. Yeah.
Kill them, melt them down, and turn them into new upgrades. It's basically cannibalism. Well, not really. It's something similar. So Ratchet tells Rodney that he's in charge now, and Rodney's like, "Oh well, same. I'll just show you my invention." "Oh sure, dude. Let me take a look at it." "Yay! Fuck you!" He kicks Spooncopter out the window and kicks Rodney himself out of Big Weld Industries using a big magnet on a unicycle. Timmy laughs at his magnetized ass with metal shavings sticking to him and making him look like a clown. He tries to walk away with more metal shit following him. Then he starts running away. A gas canister sticks to him and like launches him around town past some dudes that takes the upgrades off one guy and puts it on another older guy. Somehow they don't get attracted to him, although I'm sure they don't weigh more than that fucking dumpster that's following him, plus the combined weight of all the other metal shit that's following him must be like 1 ton or something. Anyway, he does the classic billboard gag of all the 2000s movies, then drops down into the depths of the city. Then we cut to the chop shop where we find Ratchet's fugly ass mom, who's the mastermind behind all of his evil plans. Her workers are toiling away, crushing other bots' body parts and throwing them into a furnace, melting them down and making them into new parts. She scratches all these new parts up because she's evil and stupid. What fucking terrible quality control, you stupid.
Literally.
Don't scratch this shit up. I mean, it's probably not the final product, but still. Ratchet comes over and her saggy light bulb convinces him to kill Big Weld as well, so he doesn't come back and ruin their plans. He says goodbye to his father and leaves, and we cut back to Rodney waking up in an empty barrel with local town Fender, a dude he met a couple times before and was trying to gift his ass, stealing his foot and failing to run away because he smacks into all these barrels and dumps a bunch of ball bearings on the floor, and they ballet dance fighting over his foot. Fender ends up decapitating himself and kicking his own head around until he ends up by his friends who were scavenging spare parts from the trash nearby. His sister found Rodney's little helper in the trash and he claims it as his own, so she gives it back to him. They're all gonna fight him because Fender told him to, but Piper found him cute, so she let it slide. Then the group of robo-hobos go to the spare parts shop to fix a fucked up Fender, but when they arrive they get the bad news that his parts are no longer in stock and are no longer in production, so
there it is. No longer in stock, no longer in production. You're forced to upgrade, buddy. That is so grimy, bro.
he is thoroughly fucked and deemed in out mode, aka scrap. Rodney overhears this and offers to fix him up with a few washers and some basic hardware. He does that on a sidewalk and they become friends and avoid a sweeper together, which is a big robot car that collects out modes like Fender and brings him over to the chop shop. His ass falls apart and they go over to Aunt Fanny's, a kind old bot that likes to take in old rust buckets like them and give him a home. So they go ask her for permission to have Rodney stay over, and we see the gargantuan Tukis lady. You thought Pixar moms had big asses? Well, take a look at this badonk of biblical proportions. There is no reason for it to be this big, dude. It's literally getting in the way of shit. Does it actually have a functionality or a purpose, like Rodney's dad's stomach being a washing machine? I see gauges on that. Is that a pressure cooker or storage or some shit? Is this literally the definition of a dump truck ass? Doesn't matter. She allows him to stay and he bunks with Fender in his room. They have a little heart-to-heart about family and shit, and at night they start making arm farts. I know they address it themselves in the movie that it is really hard for them to do it because they're made out of metal, but it should be f***ing impossible. Just saying. Kids movie, whatever. Hilarious.
Not literally, bro.
Fart jokes happen, and next day they wake up to some fresh brewed grease that they dump on themselves and are definitely dumping on the floor as well, causing many accidents to happen for sure, but whatever. Then they see an angry mob forming around the parts.
This boy analyzing everything, bro.
Definitely dumping on the floor as well, causing many accidents to happen for sure, but whatever. Then they see an angry mob forming around the parts store that they were just at, with the folk angry as fuck because there are no more spare parts, just shitty, useless, overpriced upgrades. So to quell the anger of these broke bitches, the shop's owner is like, there, that guy, he can fix you. Pointing at Rodney, everybody flocks to him with their faults, asking to be fixed. This one guy literally disintegrates while walking over to him, and is mysteriously not visible in the following wide shot, so Rodney decides to be a man man of the people and help them all out. The group of robo-hobos also help him in fixing all the broken bots one by one. They fix this guy's arm, this bitch's voice, and this toilet robot. Why do toilets exist in this movie again? This is what I'm talking about. See, why the fuck do toilets exist? They don't need them.
I'll show you why they exist. Where's the homie, bro? He was right here. He was falling. 801. He was falling apart right here. Look.
What car that collects out modes like Fender and brings him over to the chop shop? His ass falls
right there. It's falling apart, but I mean, look, they got a hole right there. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. You feel me? They gotta go to the bathroom.
Toilets exist, they don't need them. And if they do need them, do they shit in this guy's mouth? And Fanny's face definitely implies that. And she be shitting. I don't know what. Maybe carbon deposits or something, but she be shitting alright. Whatever, dog. I really need to let all these questions go, for fuck's sake. So they fix a bunch of dudes, including this one blue guy that completely fell apart in front of them. Ronnie becomes a local hero with many more lining up to be fixed by him. But then he gets a letter.
Now you gotta give it to this movie though. It's very detailed. I'll say that. Like, look at the scratchings on the bolts and nuts, whatever. Right, the screws all rusted up. Like, they went crazy.
This one blue guy that completely fell apart in front of them. Ronnie becomes a local hero with many more lining up to be fixed by him. But then he gets a letter from home with grim news saying that his father is sick, he needs parts, and it's not something you can fix or repair, and the parts don't exist anymore, so he's kind of fucked. Doesn't have many miles left according to Fender. So Ronnie decides that I have to go talk to Big Weld about making more spare parts and coming back. And he's gonna do that by personally talking to him at the annual Big Weld ball that he must attend, or else it wouldn't be a Big Weld ball. Him and Fender dress up in the fanciest, schmanciest disguises they got and show up to the ball, pretending to be very late super VIP editions, hence they're not on the list. Timmy gets fooled into letting them in, and dumbass Ronnie takes his shitty mustache disguise off as soon as he enters, and it's not like Timmy can look left if spot him or anything. Fucking stupid window licker. Anyway, Spooncopter goes to breakdance at the bar, and Fender wastes no time at all and immediately goes to acquire some. While Rodney goes to the stage to see Big Weld make an appearance, but it's only Ratchet on stage saying that Big Weld can't make it, but he sends his regards. And that sends Rodney into a hecking rage, yelling out, "What have you done with Big Dick? Why are you outmoding millions of bots and killing them off? I know you're doing this because I spend all day fixing them." Saying that turns out to be a big blunder on his part because they know that someone is fixing outmodes out there, they just don't know who. But now they do, obviously, and he's here, so Ratchet orders his guards to apprehend this fucker and turn him into fucking Fallout.
Self-snitch, thinking he was doing something good, you feel me? And he was. He was gonna look out for the people, you feel me? And all that good stuff. But you talking to the wrong person. Talking to the person that's stopping production of old stuff and just forcing people to upgrade. They gonna pack you up, bro. You messing with the money. You feel me?
Bottle caps, some shit. But then Cappy, this hoe that keeps getting hit on by Ratchet and can't stand him and is actually kind of into Rodney, goes over to Ratchet like, "No, let me take him away for you, babe." Ugh. Starts taking Rodney away and stupidly tells him in front of fucking Ratchet that she's trying to save his life, which he obviously hears, so he sends the guards after both of them now. They get Fender and Wonderbot on the way out. Wonderbot, that's his name, not fucking Spooncopter. You know, I like Spooncopter, I'm keeping it. They try to get away from security and make it out of the ball, so Rodney gets an idea. He's like, "Hey Timmy, remember me?" And Timmy goes like, "Oh no, not you again." Starts to close the gate, but Rodney's able to make it out of the gap in there while it closes way fucking slower than it did when Timmy was fucking with Rodney earlier in the movie, which really pisses me off, but whatever. The door closes, the guards can no longer chase them, and they get away. Well, Fender somehow reunites with his new girlfriend and drops her off at home, then goes singing in the street, then caught by a sweeper. Well, Rodney insists that Cappy takes him over to Mr. Big Weld, so she reluctantly does that and takes him over to his house where she's like,
"Okay, we tried. Let's get out of here."
Something's up. Look at all these newspapers and this mail.
She nervous.
No one fucking delivers paper at night, okay? Unless this is like 4 or 5 in the AMs, then it's fine. Rodney's eventually able to get the door open. They walk in and find Big Schmel's workshop. Rodney keeps nergasming all over his shit and accidentally knocks over one of his dominoes, and it does a domino effect with the rest of the dominoes and the other thing that I don't know how to describe, but I'm sure has a name, where he knocks over other shit and stuff like that. But the domino effect keeps going for a really long time, making a Big Weld portrait of the narcissistic he is narcissistic, okay? Because Big Weld Industries has one main building that is a building that looks exactly like Big Weld, okay? I'm not wrong on that. The dominoes eventually knock over bigger and bigger dominoes, so the biggest one falls over and causes a domino tsunami, which almost drowns them. Oof. But then Big Weld shows up surfing in the USA, and after that wave dies down, he's like, "Woo! Who's up for round 2?" Rodney tells him that they need him back now more than ever, asks him why he left in the first place. He tells him that
boy living his life retired, playing with dominoes, bruh. Look at him, he's so happy.
Zero etiquette, so massive response telling him that he wanted to make people's lives better with his inventions and all that stuff. But Ratchet's purely profit-driven business model won out over his because money talks, people are greedy, and so on and so forth. So Ratchet took control and he took more of a backseat. Tells Ronnie that he can't beat Ratchet, to give up and fuck off. So Ronnie's like, "Wow, what a role model you are." Meanwhile, Fender is dumped out in the chop shop and gets caught in a big spring, slinkies around, and sees that Ratchet and his cursed mom have developed a brand new super sweeper. It's like a Tesla model fuck you of robot killing. Springs back up to the conveyor belt and loses his bottom half, but then finds a female bottom half, puts it on, and he becomes Fender the gender bender and uses those skinny ass legs to run off over to the train station, where Rodney is getting a ticket home and calling his parents, telling them that Robot City's not all they dreamed up to be, and it's kind of bullshit. But his father, like the good dad he is, tells him to keep fighting for his dream. Then Aunt Fanny comes over and the rest of the robo-hobos.
W Pops. That's a lesson right there, bro. No matter how hard things get, you keep going. type shit. You feel me?
Pop out of
Don't give
her
up.
fucking Mary Poppins ass to say goodbye.
Dog,
I can't
they
believe
fit 4 robots in that thing.
these
Boy.
selfish young bots convince this kind old lady to jump into her
thing
ass so
got a
she can
stank.
transport them around town instead of walking themselves.
First of all.
Fucking lazy pricks. Anyway, Fender then comes in running, trying to get the early ticket to anywhere but here, so they ask him what happened and he explains to them that Ratchet basically wants to commit.
Let me ask y'all this, right? Based off all the characters, right? How, if you were able to build yourself as a robot, what kind of parts would you use? You feel me? For one off rip, give me some skates. Give me some skates, bro. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. Okay? Give me some skates.
Genocide and all the out modes,
No
so Rodney
cap.
decides to stay and fight, asks the robo-hobos to help him, but they're kind of iffy about it. Then out of nowhere, big ball weld man shows up to join him in the fight because he changed his mind, grew up hair, and stopped being a defeatist loser pussy, which motivates everybody else to join in, and they use his limo to drive over to Big Wedge Industries. He tells everyone to stay in the car but Rodney and Cappy to come up in 10 minutes to the boardroom. No idea what the logic behind that is. Maybe he wants them to come up late for a dramatic entrance, but it just seems kind of useless, honestly. He goes into the building and all his staff are surprised as fuck and glad he's back. He goes up the elevator and goes up to Ratchet, who's also surprised as fuck. Big Weld tells him that he's fired. Ratchet cries.
Look at this. Shook, you stupid.
And then he smacks his head, knocks him out, and calls the guards to take him away and kill him, which is something Rodney and Cappy see once they get up there. And maybe if they came up immediately instead of that 10-minute thing, they could have stopped this. Just saying. Anyway, they see what happened. Spooncopter loses it and starts to help them attack the guards. Rodney gets on top of Big Weld and Spooncopter pushes them out of the window. Bro. They slide down the extra curvy building and make it out of the premises with Ratchet and his evil guards chasing them down. The robo-hobos see this and Fender dumps his sister out just in case things get ugly and they follow them to help. A big chase happens where Rodney fixes Big Weld's brain on the fly. Cappy and Ratchet end up fighting over them with 2 big unicycle magnets. The rest of the robo-hobos join in. Rodney is able to disconnect Ratchet's magnet and free them from his grasp, but it's too late because they were already in the direction of the chop shop. So when Cappy tries to take evasive action because she saw...
Imagine running away from something, you just get... They just point a magnet at you and you're done. Dog.
And free them from his grasp, but it's too late because they were already in the direction of the chop shop. So when Cappy tries to take evasive action because she saw 2 sweepers in the way, which did not pose any threat at all, because I really feel like she could have gone in between them or just ran over them and been fine, but whatever. She loses control, slips on a fucking Mario Kart banana peel. The thing falls over and Big Weld rolls into the chop shop. The doors close on him and everybody looks on in horror and disbelief. Somehow none of them are magnetized like Rodney was when he got picked up by a magnet in the beginning of the movie, which is another cow shit inconsistency, but whatever. The robo-hobos are all really afraid and contemplate giving up. Fender even lays an egg, which... I will not comment on. Kids movie, whatever. Rodney encourages them all to continue fighting with him, and to do that, he upgrades them all in his own way. Orange Dude gets hot-wadded into a monster truck. Mute Dude becomes a cowboy. Square Shrek becomes a wrestler, and Fender becomes a Viking or Scottish Braveheart type folk. He leaves himself and Cappy unmodified though for some reason. They get into the chop shop and jam some gears to stop Big Weld from being melted down in this bucket that he's stuck in. Prepare to fight Saggy Lightbulb Titty Ho and her son with the army of workers and the fleet of Tesla Cyberfucks behind them. They are thoroughly outnumbered here, but then Piper breaks in with backup in the form of an army of outmodes that Rodney helped fix and owe their lives to him. The two teams clash and start a vigorous battle with lots of funny bits happening like monster truck madness, WrestleMania, ass fighting, and girls teaming up to fight some bots with pussy power. Spooncopter gets angry and fights Madame Gasket with a pipe. Rodney frees Big Ball Guy and they swing a big saw blade into the cybercucks to knock them down like dominoes, incapacitate them, forcing Ratchet to jump onto his bomb that Spooncopter had swung in the direction of the furnace, and he accidentally eats her in there, finishing her off, getting her melted down. Then he himself gets seated up to his father and stuck next to him, upgradeless. The outmodes win, hooray. They all go back to Rivet Town. Rodney's parents find out that he's here. Herb quits working for his abusive shitty boss that doesn't want him to go see his own son, takes off his washing machine attachment and slams it off his head. If it's how working for his abusive shitty boss that doesn't want him to go see his own son, takes off his washing machine attachment and slams it on
stupid, take that shit.
his head. If it's hollow like that, how's it even fucking functional? Is the inner part of him? Nah, I don't care. I'm done. They reunite with Rodney and meet Big Weld, who has bought a bunch of spares for his father to keep him going basically forever, and tells him that Rodney is now his right-hand man and eventual successor. Rodney then gives his father a trumpet thing because he always wanted to be a musician.
Crazy,
he plays it and the movie ends with lots of song and dance. This movie gets 38 ratchets out of 55 spanners.
That's tough, bro. Hey, good thing it's not one of those situations where it's like your idols become your rivals. You know what I'm saying? It actually worked out very well. All for the good reasons too, you feel me? Yeah, bro. Mid 2000s, late 2000s. I forgot what this movie was, bro. It's crazy too, because I watched it twice, but I was young, bro. I was probably like I was probably like younger than 10 years old, bro, for real. Something like that. It's been years. The only part about this movie I remember was when the mom says you missed the delivery, but that's okay. Making the baby is the fun part. What? Upgrades, people. Upgrades will always be iconic. Shit knocking over other, and a grand charade of Vias just to pour a cup of coffee. It's called the Rube Cute Goldberg Machine. What? 922 first movie villain who actually catches wind of
Fucking Ratchet that she's trying to save his life, which he
facts, bro. facts. Let me stop for a second and admire how good this movie actually looks. I think it has aged well. It does, bro. In the details, like I mentioned, they went crazy with the details, bro. Literally, like the rust, the you feel me? Look at this, bro. The scratches, everything. That's the thing too, bro. These older movies, they age well. They age well, bro. No cap. Let me know what you guys thought, man. That's my reaction. If y'all enjoyed this video, like, subscribe if you haven't. I'm out.